Hi, my name is Ella Beyer, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Pasadena, California. Yeah, so the writing process behind my latest single, Crime to Be Happy, was about 2 years ago. And I was going through like my first big real heartbreak, which ended up being great fodder for songs. And I was just like sitting in my room being like, man, I wish it was I think I said out loud, like to myself, I wish it was a crime to be happy, because I was seeing this person with the new person that they were dating on the internet. And I was like, man, like I'm still not over this. I'm healing from this still. And that hurts. But I was like, that's kind of a cool way to talk about seeing somebody with somebody new, is like, I wish it was a crime to be happy. And so I Googled the phrase and realized that it hadn't really been used in a song before. So I was like, okay, that's a cool angle. And so I was really into Radiohead at the time, and I was listening to their song Iron Lung, which is more rock, but I loved the chords. I love a good major minor chord change. And that's what Iron Lung had. And so I took those chords and just started playing them, because obviously you can't copyright a chord progression. And I played them at a slower tempo, kind of changed the order a little bit. And then that's how like the song came to life.
You know, how much of your songwriting is just, inspired by an event versus what you're more intentional about?
Yeah, when it comes to an event versus being like intentional, like I'm going to sit down and write a song today, I find that my best songs come out of the event and the emotion. When I do have those days where I'm like, I want to write a song, I'm in the mood, I usually rarely come up with something, or it just doesn't sound like me. And I feel like it almost creates more writer's block and more writer's drought, because I'm like, why am I not thinking anything? I'm a songwriter. But my best songs come from that emotional place where I get like triggered by some kind of emotion on any range of the spectrum. And I'm like, I have to write about this. And that's kind of where Crime to Be Happy came to be as well.
Being a songwriter, you did go to school for songwriting. And is it weird to call yourself a songwriter, like as a profession? Do you still like you're just kind of faking it, or is it just now a frame of mind that you see everything in life as a song possibility?
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's like, if you're a songwriter, then you call yourself a songwriter. I think it's important to like, I could say, yeah, I'm a songwriter, but I do these jobs on the side to help me fuel that passion. But still, at the end of the day, I'm going to say I'm a songwriter, because that is my one goal. Like, I have friends that I meet that, they're bartenders, they're teachers. I do the same thing, but they still call themselves like an actor or a dancer, because that's our one passion and goal. And it's, when an actor or a dancer or anybody in a creative field, songwriter, anybody in film, like when you are at the top of your game, like let's say you finally like achieve what you would call success, whether that's notoriety or whatever you want to say, or making a steady living at it. Like the girl who co-wrote Espresso is making like millions of dollars off of that one song. So it's only in the beginning of the creative fields that it's kind of like the, drawing for scraps and all that. But once you hit it to the top, it's like there's no going back.
Do you feel that sometimes that you're a little bit different than others in the room because you are a songwriter?
Yeah, I feel like when I am out with my friends or anything like that, it's the main part of being a songwriter is just going out and living. The more you live, the more you say yes, the more you experience life, the better the songs are going to be. So I'm always trying to say yes to going out, to going on that trip, to doing that thing that's really out of my comfort zone, because you never know what kind of song is going to come out of it. And Yeah, I have always have my notes app and my voice memos on my phone, of course. And, if I do get an idea, I'll just like run to the bathroom and like sing it in my phone. Or if we're in the car, I'll be like, hey guys, before I like turn the car on, can I take 2 seconds? I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll like drive.
Have you tried co-writing much? And is that a problem because you are so much in the moment, it's not as planned?
So yeah, I love co-writing. And one thing is when it comes to my own personal songs, it's more spontaneous. But when it comes to co-writing, I'm in a completely different mindset. We have the session planned. We're like, okay, we're meeting this day at this time. And I usually come with ideas that I haven't finished that I'm like, ooh, I would be so down to like finish this with somebody else, or I might not use this for my own artist project. I think this person could have a really cool perspective on this idea. Or when I'm co-writing or when I'm writing for somebody else, for somebody else's artist project, and I'm on as just a writer and not an artist, I go in with the mindset of this is the job I need to get done, and then that produces results. So I think writing for myself is a different mindset than when I'm co-writing or writing with other people.
How finished was Crime to Be Happy before you went into the studio? Did you already meet with a band? Did you rehearse? Did you have arrangements all? Or did you leave some of that open for spontaneity in the studio during the recording process?
Yeah, so when it came to the recording process of Crime to Be Happy, I always, when I'm writing new songs, I'm thinking about, okay, could this be a single? Does it also have marketability? Like, how could I promote this? Do I think a wide range of people would be able to relate to this? And then that kind of helps me pick the song. And so, no, I just had a voice memo and lyrics and a chord chart. And I went in the studio with this great producer that I'm working with, Tim Sonnefeld. He's amazing. And I played him the song and he loved it. And then we kind of built my upcoming EP around that song. That was like the starting point of it all, of like, how can we make the other songs on the project? Do they all relate to this song and the theme?
Tell me about that relationship between the songwriter and the producer.
Working with a producer is such an exciting thing because you can finally see like your song go from your little voice memo and your lyrics like scrapped out on a pen and paper and your guitar and it coming to life. And that is like so exciting. And especially when you find a producer that you feel like really understands your vision and how your artistic direction. And that's what I feel like I've found in Tim. Yeah, it was really cool. I came in with reference tracks for the song. Like I made like a mini playlist of 5 songs and I was like, this is how I could hear the production. And we kind of built off of that. And then he pulls out his guitars and we kind of start with like a demo where it's just like, all the basics. Guitar, bass, drums, maybe some piano. And then we take that demo and play it over and over again and kind of build off of like, what could the ideas be? And it's so fun, honestly. I love it. Just like bouncing ideas off and then you put something in, you're like, I don't like that. And then you start slowly like solidifying it and then it ends up becoming the song that's out.
Yeah, for sure. So the producer's role, so when you're doing that demo, are you still in like the producer's home studio, that sort of environment, or are you going into more of a professional environment at that point?
I would say like we're in a professional environment from day one. Like it depends. I kind of ask Tim, like, where do you see us recording today? Sometimes we work out of his home studio, and that'll usually be from like doing harmonies or overdubbing or adding like little, like, oh, we need to add some like more, how do I say it? We need to add more juice to this. Like there needs to be a cool guitar line or something needs to be there. When it's more like the creative, like adding, that's more like his home studio. When it's more like we are recording final vocal today. We are recording final drum, like the main core of it. That is when it's in like the more professional studio.
Crime to Be Happy, what studio? Were you in more than one studio or just one studio for that song?
Yeah, so we worked out of 3 studios. Red Star, which is this, I love Red Star. It's this awesome studio on top of a hill in Silver Lake, and there's a little like red star lit up in it, and all these cool organs and rugs and organs and rugs throughout. I love that place. And then we recorded out of Big Bad, which is amazing, awesome studio. And then also Sunset Sound, which was so crazy recording at Sunset Sound, just such an iconic place. And I'm so thankful that I got to record a little bit there.
Is it intimidating going from a home studio to a big room, or is it's all the same to you?
Yeah, I think it is a little intimidating going from a home studio to a big room because, you know, like it says in the name, the home studio, it's going to feel a little bit more homey. And it's like, how can you make that bigger studio space feel more relaxed and, you know, and more comfortable in it. And I think it's just the longer you spend in it, the more you're going to feel comfortable.
When you walk into a studio, is that vibe perhaps the most important thing? Like if it inspires you and relaxes you?
I didn't think how much vibe would be important to the sound of the recording, but as cheesy as it sounds, like the lighting, the overall vibe of the studio, I feel like is really important to the sound of the recording. Because I don't know, I've realized that my vocal tone and all of that tends to sound better. Like I said, when I just feel more comfortable in a space. And I think a lot of like producers try to strive for that, is like, does my space look like somebody would want to come in here and record? And that's why I love it. I love walking into any producer space. They usually have like cool artwork on the walls or guitars hanging or twinkly lights. And it just makes you excited to be there. So yeah, I definitely think it's important.
Do you consider yourself more of a performer or a songwriter at this time? And maybe what are your future goals? What role do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Yeah, when it comes to being an artist and a songwriter, I at the end of the day, I just love writing songs. That is my one passion. That is all I can think about all the time. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having. I'm like, how can I make this a song? And so whether that happens for me, like I'm very heavily pursuing this artist path, but I'm also pursuing writing for other people and co-writing and all of that. At this point, I'm just like, whatever sticks is going to stick. As long as I get to write songs for the rest of my life, like I'm going to be happy.
What are some advantages of living in a big city such as Los Angeles, in a media mecca like that?
When it comes to living in a big city as a creative, I definitely do think there are some big advantages because it's a great place to network. And a lot of the music industry is in Los Angeles. Yeah, a lot of the music industry is in Los Angeles. Like most people move to LA when they want to pursue commercial music. And so because of that, there's great venues where I go to a lot of people's shows. Like I want to support my friends, even people I don't know. Sometimes when I have a free night, I'll just be like, oh, it's LA. I know I could find a free show tonight. And I'll just like look on Instagram or Eventbrite and I'll just go to a show and like try to meet people and connect and network. And I think that's a big advantage is it's like, it doesn't matter what night of the week there is. There's going to be something going on. And they have this thing called pop-up hangs, which are great. And you go and there's all these people, producers, singers, songwriters, and you put your name in a little jar and then they like can pull it out. And you get to like play your song, like a minute of your song in front of everybody. I made so many connections that night and it was so cool. but it was all because of it's LA and people are thinking, okay, there's so many people here. What could we do to get more of them connected as well? And same thing with New York, Nashville, all of it. I was just in New York back in March and literally just standing on the street, compliment a girl's outfit, find out she's in film. She's like, I need somebody to write the music for my next film. I'm like, great. Here's my contact info just from standing on the corner of a street. So I encourage people, move, if that's your vibe, move to a big city. If you want to, if you want more of that like chill living, I totally get it. But I think that's another thing that I love about LA is I can live in like the chill suburbs and then I can go to the city when I want to.
Is that one of the drawbacks of living in Los Angeles, because there is such a big artist community that it's harder to get in more of the established clubs?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think because LA is a big city, there's so many people going after the same thing. And so it just makes the grind like even harder. But when you love it, you're like, okay, let's go. But yeah, it does make it harder because there's so many people doing the same thing as you, for sure.
You know, how would you describe that? Is it tough mentally, as you're like, oh, there's so many good artists, I'm not good, I might quit, or do you find it inspiring, like, oh, look at how good they are, I'm going to try and be as good as they are? When
it comes to the music industry in Los Angeles and seeing your peers and everything, I honestly, sometimes I write my best songs after I go support one of my friends or I go to a concert and I come home because I'm inspired by what I saw. And I'm like, wow, I want to write. They had such a cool perspective on that one song. And I want to write something like that in my own words. And yeah, I think the more we support each other and the more we're like, we're all trying to get to the same place, we might as well just like be on everybody's team. The better the product is going to be, the better the songs are going to be. And it's like, it's a double-edged sword. You never forget the person that was rude to you, and you never forget the person that was nice to you either. It works both ways. Like, I'll run into somebody that I haven't seen in years and I'll be like, I remember you because you were so sweet, or I played a show and you came up to me and you didn't know me and you said you really connected to XYZ song. I will never forget that. But then it's like, I'll also never forget the person that was on their phone the whole time during the set. And, so it works both ways for sure.
Maybe you could help, you could describe your style as a songwriter, to maybe your style of music and how that relates to your aesthetic.
It comes to my style of songwriting and how it relates to my aesthetic. I think I went really back and forth my first couple years of college. My first 2 years of college, I was like, am I pop? Am I more like indie rock? And anytime I go through a crisis, I dye the tips of my hair pink, and I wear eyeliner, and I was like very confused. And I think that's fine when you're, 19 and 20 and yeah. And then I think when it came to like, okay, I feel like I'm finding my direction. I'm working with this new producer that I love, that I feel like understands my direction. Like, let me sit with myself and figure out like, who am I? And I love the whole vibe of like Carole King Tapestry. And that cover art where she's just sitting in like jeans and a t-shirt with a cat in her house. And that whole kind of relaxed, but like intentional and emotive vibe of the Laurel Canyon era. I love that aesthetic. And I would say my music is, singer-songwriter, not super Laurel Canyon, but just that like singer-songwriter, like Sarah Bareilles, Alanis Morissette, Phoebe Bridgers, Carole King vibe. And so when it came to taking like the cover art for Crime to Be Happy, I just wanted to go to the place where I wrote where I've written a majority of my songs, which is the house I grew up in. And my parents' house, my mom is really big into antiques. So we have like this, like 200-year-old pump organ and this Wurlitzer and all these instruments, and it's high, like curved ceilings. And I just walked in there and I was like, this is where I have to take the pictures. And my dog, Georgie, is in a lot of the shots. And that was kind of inspired by the tapestry vibe. So I would just say kind of stripped down, emulative of the Carole King tapestry vibes is kind of what I'm going for.
You recently graduated from the Los Angeles College of Music. Tell us about your experience, maybe how that school prepared you for the next step in your career.
Yes, so I just graduated from Los Angeles College of Music with my bachelor's in songwriting. An amazing school. I learned so much, and I learned a lot about how to network, what to say when you're approaching somebody that you want to make a connection with, that you feel like could possibly help you move forward your career. I learned a lot about how to collaborate with my fellow peers. I love going to school because somebody had a show sometime during the week, and I'd end up going to one of their shows, and we would also support each other. And and what was so cool is we had this showcase class every single quarter, where they would bring in industry panelists, and they would get like a grading rubric, and they would like grade each of our songs and give us notes. And I took away a lot from that, not only from looking over the notes from the industry panelist perspective, but also just going up to them and talking to them after. And I was able to work with a couple of them. And that's what LACM does really well, is they're really connected, and they bring in people that are actively in the industry. And a lot of us have worked with those panelists, whether they bring us on for like a writer's camp, or they say, could you help produce this song that I'm working with this artist on? So yeah, LACM is really awesome about that. And they also always have a master class. And some of the master classes I've gone to, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So, yeah.
Let's talk briefly about maybe some challenges as a singer-songwriter. I know, Spotify is a hot topic, with its low payouts, but it's a necessity. If you're going to go on tour, that's your Spotify monthly listeners is the primary metric for getting booked or getting attention through booking agencies. Talk about maybe some challenges with that as a songwriter. Are you, or as an artist, are you thinking about putting a team together, or do you look at like promotion companies and go, what it's going to take to get on certain playlists? Is that entering your mind yet at all at your stage of where you are in your life?
Yeah, so I'm signed to an awesome indie label called Winding Way Records with John. He's John Fisher. He's amazing. And he's been helping me get on playlists, and how to write an email to those playlists, and how to pitch your song in 3 sentences. And so it's a lot about just like cold emailing and how does your email stand out? And do you think this song would work for this person's playlist? And yeah, he's been amazing with helping me.
Tell me about your mindset with regards to, how much you take on yourself and how much you're going to leave to other people.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like being DIY or having help from others, honestly, a big combination of both. There's a lot that I'm doing on my own, like planning the photo shoot, the aesthetic, getting the photographer, like staying consistent with a recording schedule, writing the songs, getting the shows, reaching out to booking agents, reaching out to friends, being like, hey, do you need an opener? Are you trying to fill a slot? Like I pretty much do majority of that by myself, and a huge part of it is the posting too. I have to set aside like 5 hours in one day and be like, okay, I'm going to record as many videos as possible that I just have content lined up because I'm going to be busy the next 2 weeks. And I just want to be able to put out videos. That's a big part that I do by myself, is like, what am I wearing in the video? What's my text hook? Where am I sitting in the room? What will hopefully like gain the most views? And it's a lot of trial and error. Like I'll post a video and it'll get 200 views and I'll be like, okay, what could I make better about this? Did I post it the wrong time of day? Like that's what I'm figuring out right now, is the posting thing for sure. But then John Fisher also does help me. Sometimes he'll be like, hey, I booked you a gig. It's on this day. Or he's the one that connected me with Tim. He was like, you got to work with this producer. So honestly, I love collaborating. I love working with John. We have weekly meetings and I'll be like, this is what I'm thinking for the next photo shoot. This is what I'm thinking for the aesthetic. And I kind of bounce those ideas off of him and see what he says.
Yeah, I love that approach where, you're a do-it-yourselfer, but you have some mentors that you can bounce ideas off of and maybe leverage their connectivity and their network. I think that's a great first approach, right? Rather than saying, I'm just going to jump into a label, and they're going to sign me, but might never release you, or you sign a publishing deal and you get a big fat check, but then you make no publishing money for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So I think that's a nice balance, where you're willing to do a lot of it yourself, and then as your audience grows and there's more income streams or revenue opportunities, then you can build a team around you for sure. Tell me about your songwriting process, like when that moment of inspiration hits. Are you thinking melody, lyrics, or chord changes, some of the music?
Yeah, so when it comes to my songwriting process, I think I definitely think of lyrics first, because it's coming from that emotional place most of the time for me. I'm like, I'll jot down a line and I'll be like, oh, wow, this is how I'm feeling right now. And I'll jot down the lyric. So I'm definitely lyric focused on how can I say it in my own unique perspective? Like, how can I talk about all the emotions that everybody's feeling? Heartbreak, self-discovery, love, all of it. But in my own perspective, because that's why people, I have a similar vibe to, let's say, Phoebe Bridgers. And Phoebe Bridgers and I may be singing about the same things, but the reason why people are listening to different artists is for their own unique perspective, and for their sonic choices too. Like the melody, that's what makes a song stick in your head. Is at my job the other day, there was a song playing over the speakers and I was like, I cannot get this song out of my head. And I just kept singing the melody. I had no idea what the words were. So honestly, the melody hooks you in and the lyrics make you stay. You get drawn to a song because of that catchy, hooky melody you can't get out of your head. But what makes you stay and listen for the whole thing is for how you connect to the message of the song.
Tell me about your pre-show ritual.
As weird as it sounds, is when I'm in the car ride there from my house to the gig, I feel like is the most important part of the process of the pre-show ritual. I won't listen to any of my own songs. I'm just focusing on feeling present in the moment. I love listening to my crooners, Frank Sinatra, Wayne Newton, all of that, like just those songs that make you feel like you're on cloud nine. I roll down the windows. I love that. And then as soon as I park my car and I'm out of the car, that's when the show starts. I feel like the show starts as soon as you have your guitar in hand and you're walking down the street and you walk in and you're shaking hands and you're meeting people. And then it's like going on and performing. That's just like the added bonus.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that the show starts when they go on stage. But to me, as a kind of a behind the scenes guy, when the lead singer walks in the room, everyone in that room should know that they're the lead singer of a band. And it adds so much to the show.
Exactly. Like, I mean, when people film Taylor Swift before or after the show, you still see that like cohesiveness of her bright, shiny personality before and after. Like it's so important, and it's not being fake by any means. It's not like once you get out of the car, it's like, hi, whoa, 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 you know? It's just like you're in that mode of, okay, I'm in my artist perspective right now. I'm in the artist side of myself. And then once I get in the car, I can, you know, relax and drive through and get my French fries and my Coca-Cola. And then I can chill out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and those connections that you make walking to the stage and walking from the stage, that networking changes your career immensely. And if you're still in that singer mode, that artist mode, that's what they want to see. You know, not a sloppy, cranky person who's really tired or whatever, but that you still need that energy when you're in those when you're making those relationships, for sure.
Let's say, of course, it happens like when I'm in a bad mood the day of the show. Like maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe you get in a fight with like a boyfriend or a family member or whatever, and you're just like really crabby. That has happened to me. And that is why the drive there is so important, is I put all of that aside and I'm like, I am just listening to my music, and then it kind of like cleanses you, and then you do the show, then you can worry about it after. That's something that my mom and dad have really taught me, is how to compartmentalize. And like when you are in music mode, when you are networking, it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. Like you are there for that purpose, and it will always be there when you get home, you know?
You released Crime to Be Happy a couple months back, is that right? And that's part of an EP, and you have other singles coming out, is that right?
Yes, so Crime to Be Happy is part of my upcoming EP, which will feature 5 other songs, 6 songs. I'm super excited about it. So yeah, that will be coming very soon. I'm working on releasing the next single off of that. I'm going to do 3 singles off of it, and then the full project. But yeah, I've loved working on this project. I've had the most amazing time, and I'm just so excited for this. Will be my first cohesive body of work. In the past, I've just released a bunch of singles, and now I feel like it's like, okay, this is me and one little project, you know? And I think, not to tangent a little bit, but that's what I love about vinyl, is that when you listen to an album like on streaming, you can easily skip. And when it's vinyl, it kind of forces you to listen to something back to front and see how the artist or band wants you to hear it in the intended order. And I don't know why I'm talking about this, but you know what I mean? I'm really excited about my project. I've had the best time working with Tim and collaborating on it, and I'm really excited for people to hear it. It's a bit, you know, there's some, I have a couple like up-tempo, fun, not dancey songs, but you know what I mean, that you can just like have a good time listening to, and then some really sad songs on there. So I think it's a good mix, and definitely I would describe my upcoming EP in one word, like bittersweet. It with the double-edged sword, for sure. If you're a fan of Scott Street by Phoebe Bridgers, or anything off of the Tapestry album by Carole King, or anything Sarah Bareilles, I think you would really love my upcoming EP, and also my newest single, Crime to Be Happy. My fans that are listening to my music always love those artists. Also, Lizzie McAlpine is a big one. Actually, Lizzie McAlpine's pedal steel player played on a couple of songs on the upcoming EP. So if you are a big fan of Lizzie, I think you would like my music.
Fantastic. Ella, once again, thank you so much.